Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this special episode of the Collider Games channel. We're doing a spoiler review. Reminder, spoiler review for Ghost of Tsushima. We did our non-spoiler review, so if you haven't played through the game, you don't want any spoilers, go check that out. This is the one, like I said, we did one for The Last of Us Part 2. We're doing one for this one where we're going to go deep into the story, the combat, all the cool stuff into it. If you've watched our reviews before, my name is Dennis Zen, and I'm here with.
What's up, guys? It's your boy Dorian.
And we both really enjoyed this this game. That sometimes you get confused because of how cinematic some of these games can be. If for those of you who played it, it takes place in ancient Japan in 1274, the Mongol invasion. Jin Sakai is the main character that you play as on Tsushima Island. It's a pretty straightforward story when it comes to like you gotta fight off this invasion and beat back the bad guys, there's twists and stuff around, but nothing too complex. What's your overall thoughts before we get into some spoilers, Dorian?
So my overall thoughts before we do that, you said something about it being a movie, and I just want to call out, there was a publication, I'm not going to say their name, but they said that the Ghost of Tsushima story was basically the Lone Ranger. And I was like, bro, I know I haven't even watched that many Westerns or that many samurai movies in general, but you can't say that Japanese didn't influence Western movies. Like, you can't say like that. That pissed me off so much. So I'm not going to call out the specific publication, but they know who they are. If you need clicks, you don't have to do clickbait like that. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, just in general, my overall thoughts, I absolutely love the game. I said that in my review, and that was me during the middle of the third act of the last part. But now that I've fully completed the game, satisfying ending, loved every second of it, and definitely still what I say is holds up true. As for right now, I know there's a few games dropping later on this year like Cyberpunk and stuff, but as of right now, this is personally my game of the year. Like, from the story, from the gameplay, just everything. Jin's journey throughout the story, just being able to basically build your samurai from scratch, and to see him evolve, and to see how his impact and how his character development influenced other characters, side characters that you become close to. It was just a well-written story in my opinion, and then the action and the gameplay just like elevated it to another level. So overall, absolutely love the game.
Yeah, for me, it's definitely one of my favorite games of the year. I think along with The Last of Us Part 2 that we mentioned before and Half-Life Alyx, these three, for me, are my favorite and best games of the year. We still have Cyberpunk 2077. We still have Avengers. We still have Assassin's Creed Valhalla. We still have some more Halo Infinites coming out. A bunch of games coming out still, but right now these three are my front runners. For me, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was addicted to the combat. I say the story is pretty good. It's not on the level of a Last of Us Part 2, but most games aren't. Last of Us Part 2, I think, just the story, the characters are just more deeply enriched, where this was, and rightfully so. There's an open world game. It's more focused on the combat, and the combat is like one of the funnest I've played in a long time. I think maybe Control, Half-Life Alyx had awesome combat. That was different. I think different in a sense of that was just more intense. But in terms of like trying to level up and figure out all these things, different powers. I mean, these are techniques, but in Control, it's powers. This is like so much fun that you keep going back and back to it, where even some of the stuff that may or not be repetitive, it doesn't feel that way because you're constantly upgrading your weapons and techniques, so you get a new wrinkle to it every single time. And they have the main storyline, but they also had like side quests and Mythic Tales. I think Mythic Tales is probably one of my favorite things to do in the game, because it's like these kind of urban legends, I guess, within the context of the game, where people tell each other these stories, and this musician guy tells you all these stories, like, oh, there's like this ancient warrior who you fought this guy and that guy, and somehow he got this armor that was totally badass, or this weapon that's totally badass, which is interesting though, because actually your main weapon, your sword, you don't change that. It's your it's your clan sword, and you keep it. You can upgrade it in terms of its strength and power and speed and all that stuff, but you don't actually change out your sword. You can change out your cosmetics to it, but you don't actually change it out. Where the armor is the thing that like for the customization got me hooked. Like just being able to upgrade all the different types of armor and the different looks of your guy.
Yeah, for sure. The armor itself, like you said, the Mythic Tales really, I really enjoyed those, especially how they set them up. You have to sit down. They do a little visual effect, like a hand drawn animation. Thought that really enriched the experience and made you made me feel further, like I said, enriched in it. But overall, I just love the customizational features of it. Especially, it's not a spoiler, but or it is a spoiler. We're talking
Doesn't
spoilers,
matter.
but once you get the ghost armor, I thought it was really interesting how like the marketing for this game already had him and like showed him off
Yeah.
in type of armor and showed him like being a badass. But it's not false marketing, but it's like you don't really get that armor until the beginning of the third act, and how you get it with Taka being the one to give it to you. Thought that was cool. But I built the customization features. Once I got the ghost armor, just building on top of that, and I put the little straw hat on. I got my little cape from the upgrade armor. It's just so nice, so beautifully done. Like I love the customizational features because, like I said at the beginning, when it feels like you're building a samurai from scratch, from the skill tree, from the weapons that you have, just everything like that. The armor is the thing that is the cherry on top. It just like solidifies you as the badass samurai you want to be. And then when you go into the story modes, like although you said in the previous reviews, like the cutscenes into like they just fade to black. The cutscenes aren't as
Yeah.
smooth as like a Last of Us or something. But
No.
like when you are into those cutscenes and you see up close your weapons and your armor of how you customize, I'm like, bro, that's my samurai right there. That's me. That like I customize that. So I thought that was just I think that was one of the highlights is the customizational features. But like I said again, the story itself, although it didn't hook you as much, or it's not, I don't want to compare it to like a Last of Us or something. Just overall, I was blown away. I think the main part of the story that really hooked me was just the character progression, not only Jin, but just like Yuna. I thought she had a very well done side story of just like her from going from her being a thief to becoming a warrior that won't leave Jin's side no matter, although she's already paid her debt, although he's already paid his debt to her. Like she refused to leave his side, as you could see like her really starting to care about the land, and her being the one to call him the ghost and solidify him as the Ghost of Tsushima. I thought that was just excellent, just storytelling in general. And then Taka, my boy Taka, bro, another MVP, another character that I just thought was the dopest. From him just wanting to just help, from him being scared to him wanting to just really help Jin, and then ended up getting killed, bro. That hurt me. I was like when he said he was gonna early on in that same mission, he was like, I'm gonna be with you thick and thin. I'm like, ride or die, and I'm like, nope, that's
You're
it.
dead.
He's dying.
You're dead.
I was like, nah,
Yeah.
bro, he's dead thing. And then they actually did, and I was like, oh damn, that one
Not just
hurt.
dead, beheaded.
Yeah, beheaded.
Beheaded.
They really went hard on. It. I was like, man, that hurt. And then, but for his last thing that he worked on to be the ghost armor, for then Yuna to be like, here, it's the last thing he worked on. He wanted you to wear it, and then you get to suit up in it. I thought that was chef kiss. That was amazing. And speaking of dead characters, I've never been that emotionally attached to a horse. And then when the horse got killed, I was just like, bro, I don't even want a horse, and I don't want another horse. I'll walk around the rest of the time. Like it felt so wrong just having to get another horse and then name it again. I'm like, nah, bro, this don't sit right with my soul. Kage, that's what I named my horse. When he got killed and you just running through the forest and he gets shot in the arrow with the arrows, I was like, bro, now Kage, like we've been through so much. That was like an indestructible horse. Like if it can fall from a cliff sometimes, I'm like, bro, if, man, that one really hurt me. I think that hurt me more than Taka, to be honest.
Really? No, Taka
No,
hurt me the most.
Taka really got me, but the horse that did have an impact. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, Yuna, I think, was the best side character. I think her storyline, because her storyline weaved right into Jin's. It
Yeah,
wasn't.
hers was never like a side quest.
No. Where the rest of them, like Lady Masako, Kenji, Norio, Sensei Ishikawa, those were like ones that, yeah, you could do, or you could do some of it, you could do all of it, but it wasn't necessary. Where Yuna was like tied into yours. I also felt like they were trying to do kind of like some sort of like romantic chemistry between the two, but I didn't feel
Yeah.
like it really worked. I don't know. I didn't get that vibe.
No, I agree. Like I could like some of the moments or some of the scenes how they like let it breathe a little bit, like the longing lasting looks between them. I was like, are they trying to set something up? But I'm
Yeah.
glad they didn't like fully go through with that because they're in the middle of a war. They're trying to take over the land. They ain't got no time to get into a relationship. Like you can have the tension a little bit, but I'm glad they didn't like try to develop their relationship as like more chemistry, but just more felt more like allyship and like I'm not going to leave your back, especially now that we're each other alls we got. Like see, you saved my life. Now I got it. Like you did what you've had to do, and I'm going to get your back. So I'm glad they kept more of like an allyship and kind of just made her character more fleshed out. And like I said, going from a thief to being one of the badass warriors to help take back the land, I think that was a great storyline. And just a storyline in general of how they introduce those other characters, making them first like the mission that you're introduced to them is a main mission, but then the rest of their story goes off into the side quest. I like how they acknowledged at the very end when you have the option to speak to your allies before you go to war. They address it. They're like, all right, this isn't because I didn't finish really any of their main missions until after I went back and finished the game. So like I like how they address like, hey, even though we haven't found Tomoe. I can't pronounce her name right. The
Yeah, yeah.
apprentice. Even though we haven't found her yet, we'll make sure we'll finish that up after we do this. So I'm glad they acknowledged and didn't just leave it hanging for you to just go back by yourself and do so. I thought that was clever.
Yeah, yeah. I think I had only finished. Well, obviously Yuna's would tie it into Sakai's, but Lady Misako I finished before I went to the final battle. I mean Kenji is not really. He's like a side character, you know.
Right.
So his
Yeah.
missions was not that big a deal. I still need to finish like Norio's and Sensei Ishikawa's.
Have you finished Lady
Uh,
Eureka's Eureka?
Lady Eureka. Which
It's
one's
like
Lady Eureka?
it's like his grandmother figure, the one that gives you the poison.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Finish that. That was
You,
sad. That was
yeah,
that was a
that
tough.
one was sad. I
That
didn't cry, but that one got me too.
Yeah, because she thought he was his father or whatever.
Oh, that
She
that
thought
shit
he,
that
and
shit hurt
they
me.
obviously had some sort of fling or relation, romantic relationship. That one I think was the one that touched me the most. And then so those characters, I like those characters. I like the main storyline. The whole thing with Lord Mira at the end. Which did you choose?
I let him stay alive. Did you kill him?
No, I let him live.
Oh, okay, 'cause so part of me was like, well, if you want honor, bro, then I'm gonna kill you because you've been bitching at me this whole time about keeping up this honor stuff. Even though if we would have kept up this honor stuff, you would still be in jail right now. So I don't know. I was pissed about that. A split second. I was like, all right, man, you want some honor? Let me kill you with respect. Then, like, if you want this honor this bad, but then I was like, no, this is his only family left. Let me
Yeah.
just let me chill, like but just for a split second, because I was hating, not hating his character, but just like, bro, he sacrificed his whole life to win back this, like, liberate this country or land for you guys, and you just be like, oh no, you didn't do it the right way because you didn't look them in the eye
Yeah.
and all that. It's like, bro, no, if they're fighting dirty, you got to fight dirty back, and then once you fight dirty and kill everybody, all of them, then we can bring back the honor and bring back
Yeah.
everything to
Yeah.
the land. Like, you can't do that right now, bro. Like, we're in the middle of a war. If you gotta sneak behind somebody, insert them with a poison dart, you gotta do that, fam. Like, it's what happens.
Yeah. The one interesting thing I found with the ending was so you can choose these two different paths, one to kill him, one to not. We both chose not to kill him. I was gonna go back and play it again so I could watch the other ending, but I accidentally erased the closest ending
Hmm.
point. Like I had saved it like right before that, and then somehow I erased it, and so the one from the save closest to it was like 2 hours away or
Mm.
whatever. And another 2 hours, like forget it. So I watched it online. It's not, it's not that different. It's just that one part where you choose to kill him, and then instead Jin goes down and kills him. But he's like crying, and Lord Shamira just says like, "I'll see you in the next life," and something like it's like sad, and Jin's like crying or whatever. The question is, they're inevitably going to make a sequel to this. This is a huge hit, right?
Hmm.
How are they going to weave that into the storyline, or are they going to create a new Ghost of Tsushima? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Oh
is there
no,
going to be another storyline in Tsushima, or maybe it's a ghost of a different location in ancient Japan? It's a different character. because I'm not exactly sure how they're going to pick, because they're either going to have to totally avoid this storyline or this story choice, or I don't know. It's just different, because right now you're an outlaw being hunted down by the Shogun. Where do you go from there for a sequel?
I don't know. Maybe it's the like we in the sequel it's us catching up. Maybe there's a little bit of a time jump. He's fully reestablished the Sakai, the family. Maybe he's got a wife or something. Maybe he started to find a family like hidden. And then there's maybe not the same thread. Maybe there's a new thread if they can weave in a different threat without it feeling like repetitive. And then there's a Yuna has to be the one to be the messenger and be like, hey, I know they banned you. I know people aren't like the people are scared of the ghost now, but we need you. We need you to come back. We need that unhonorable shit again. Like, I don't care. We need them darts. We need you to start sneaking around and killing people again. And then thus you're thrust back into the story or something like that. I don't know. Maybe he has a kid by the time that everything is coming around, or he's an older man and somebody comes like we
They
get
do a Logan or Unforgiven or something like that.
and somebody comes and kills him because of
family.
because of what he did to disrespect the Shogun or something like that. And then it's his son, like, oh hell no. Like, we get a Ellie and Joel situation where she goes on he or she goes on a murder mission of just taking down anybody who rightfully or unrightfully took down his or her father. So I don't know, something like that. But it'd be interesting. Maybe they do I couldn't see them doing like a prequel to this, but like maybe giving us a DLC prequel and showing us the story that happened between him and Ryuzu, because I thought that was one of the twists that I did not see coming, like him not coming to help the Straw Hats coming to help them take over the land, and it ended up him having to fight him. That was the one time I was like, I'm glad he killed him with honor, because he gave him a chance once and he was like, all right, I'm done. But then he's like, are you going to fight again? You're really going to do this? And then you have to kill him. That one was a satisfying kill. I was like, all right, you deserved it. You just
give him a choice.
Oh, huh? There was no choice.
Give him a choice. No, not us as players, but the character of Jin goes, hey man, we don't have to do this. You can,
And then this was all because he was salty because he got embarrassed as a kid when they did the tournament. I know childhood trauma is difficult, but come on, bro. Like, I feel like that was his whole motivation, was because he got embarrassed when they had the samurai tournament to become samurais or whatever, and he just had that grudge. If you're talking about keeping a grudge, that is a lifelong grudge. And then for him to just betray him like that, especially after he broke his back trying to get y'all food and stuff like that, and then he's like, all right, nope. I'm a sacrifice. I'm gonna do what I got to do. And then I thought that was just to see the look in Ryozu's eye when he had to burn that person. And then he's just like, what have I become? Like, what am I doing? And I'm like, no, that was the unredemption arc for me when he burned that person. I was like, nope, there's no saving this dude at all. Like, he got to go. He's got to go, man. But I thought that he made an interesting antagonist with Khan himself.
Well, the first time was when I fought him was pretty hard. The second time I whooped his ass.
No, both times, bro. No, both times for me was hard. I had to put that shit on easy. Like they were not playing.
I upgraded my shit, because by the time I fought him, like towards the end of the game, like my guy was like, he was powered up, man. I had all the resolve and all the. Let's talk about that. The combat. To me, this is the best part of the game. Is the combat is like super addicting, like. We both played Jedi Fallen Order last year, and I had a lot of fun with that game. It had a good story, but the combat in this is on another level. It's similar where you can, you can parry and you can dodge and all that stuff, but I found this one to be much more satisfying in terms of the fighting, like and upgrading the techniques. It just felt more, I don't know. More like there was a difference when you upgraded different things, and the skill trees where it made a lot more sense, and having the resolve to heal yourself, upgrading the resolve, learning the different techniques like Heavenly Strike, and I forgot what was the name, the one where you like chop down like 3 people. I forgot the name.
I haven't done that.
Those are all in the Mythic Tales, like the Mythic Tales.
I just did to complete the main story because I was trying to get it for capture. I just did the main one I did was a Heavenly Strike, and I got the longbow, and then I went back after I finished and started getting the other ones, but I haven't finished. I haven't got the triple strike one yet.
What about the flaming sword? Like learning the flaming sword?
No, bro, I haven't got that one yet either.
Dude, the cold mountain. There's a mountain you have to freaking climb. It's a pain in the ass, man. you gotta climb this mountain, and it like you start freezing. And like, if you don't find like a campfire soon, you just die.
What?
Yeah. Like your body starts to get cold, and you start losing hit points, and then you just die if you don't find the nearest campfire. So it's a pain. And when you get cold, like the things turn all like blurry and foggy, just like the poison. Remember when you get the poison, it like gets like that. But yeah, to me, the gameplay, that's what it was all about, man. Gameplay and the customization.
Yeah, especially the gameplay as you got further along in the game, like especially when you're in the last act when you've unlocked all the stances, it feels like you're basically doing a samurai dance of like you're fighting an enemy with the spear. You got to use the wind stance, switch into a big guard, moon stance, like it just having to be on your feet and be quick like that just made it made it that better for me because it was like, all right, I'm really having to think strategically. Oh, am I gonna? Oh, this dude's running up on me. Oh, you catching a bow? You catching a bow here? You catching a bow over there? I was deadly with that bow, bro. Like if you look at any of the gameplay from my walkthrough, you look at any time I pull out that arrow, you can expect like 3 or 4 people getting sniped. Like that arrow, the longbow and the half bow. Like those are my two to go to weapons. Like if you give me some limited weapon.
I was using the kunai, the throwing daggers.
Oh yeah. Those are.
Those are lifesavers for me because it would stagger people, especially like the bigger guys that like they're pain in the ass to kill. I would throw those, it would stagger them, and then I could slice them to pieces, you know?
No, when it like especially early on when I didn't have the moon stance and I was just trying to fight those bigger, I would just if I had 3 kunai on my thing, it would just be like, nope, you're getting all 3 of them. I don't even want to spend time fighting you. I'm just kill you with these kunai and then just go on to the rest of them. But I thought I thought Khan himself was a good antagonist for the overall game, although we didn't see him as much as the other characters. But I thought his presence in general, just like how he was carrying himself, was dope. And then I enjoyed at the end when you had to fight him multiple times. Like it wasn't just ending where you fought him one time. Like he became not a minion or whatever, but you got to fight him alongside other enemies and stuff like that. So I thought that was pretty cool. And getting to kill him as well, that was another satisfying kill in the books. Like that was like, all right, we made it here. We're good.
He's a cheater. He's a cheater, man. First you fight him, kick his ass, then he throws poison in your face, and then he sends minions after you. And then after that, you go on the boat, and then you fight him and you kick his ass. He sends minions after you. Then he pulls out a shield, and he sends more people. Like, he's not up for a fair fight, man.
Nah, bro. And that's what I'm saying is like Lord Shiromu, or I keep messing up his name, but it's like if you saw the stuff that Khan was doing to me, bro, like
yeah,
that honor is out the window, my guy. Like we're trying to get our land back. I don't that made me so mad. It's like, bro, you can take if you just disregard anything he did for the past couple days or 2 weeks, the honor is still there, my guy, and then let him go liberate the rest of the towns. Like I don't know. Is honor going to help liberate those other little smaller towns? Nah, bro. Nah. You got to do what you got to do. Slice some people up. I'm not mad about it.
To be honest, I didn't use the poison darts and the hallucination darts that much. Like once in a long while. The only thing, like the non-honorable thing that I did do was the assassinations. When they're not looking, go behind them and stab them in the neck, or you're on a rock, you can jump down and just, kill them with their sword. That was my non-honorable ghost-like stuff. But when it came to like the poison and the hallucination, didn't really do much of that. I didn't even really use much of the smoke bombs or sticky bombs or any of that stuff.
I found myself, I didn't really use the sticky bombs, but the smoke bombs, once I was able to like fully upgrade it and you can disappear and then come back around and assassinate them. Like once I upgraded that one, and then the assassination where you can do the up to 3 kills. Yeah, so that's
chain
when I
assassinations. That was
awesome. Then that's the only time I really use the smoke bombs. But besides that, I also didn't find myself using the poison darts as much, unless that was one of the bonus missions that you had to try to complete. That was probably the only time I really used those in battle, unless I was like really scraping the bottom of the barrel. If I didn't have any kunai or anything like that, and I just had those, I'm like, all right, you gonna get killed with a poison dart then. And I especially never really used the hallucination one, the one where they turn on each other and stuff like that. Never really had a chance to use that.
Yeah, standoffs. Those are super important because I mean, first you have one, you kill one guy, but when you get your streak, like you can do up to like 4. I think you can do 5 with the ghost armor or something like that. I forgot which armor. One of the armors gives you an extra standoff streak. No, I don't think it's ghost armor. It's one of the other ones. It just helps fighting because instead of fighting 8 people, you're fighting 4 people, which is so much easier. Let's say there's a group of 8 people. If you kill the first 4 using the standoff, 4 people are much more manageable than 8 because 8 they'll just surround you and kick your ass.
Yeah, and I only upgraded that one to where I only like got it to the 2. Like there was only 2. I could kill. Yeah, I never fully upgraded, but I found myself like I tried to position myself. If there was a bigger guy, I tried to do the standoff with him and get that one out of the way first and then go on. But I'm not gonna lie, some of those times they will get me. Those like some of those juice that they give you, I'm like, no, I got you, and then no, they surprise you and then don't do it. But yeah, those standoffs never felt like repetitive or boring. I actually was always excited to.
Oh yeah, me too. There's a lot of tension too with the standoffs because like, especially later in the game, because in the first part it's pretty easy, but later they're like triggered like really fast, where like you're watching, and even if they don't faint and you see them coming, they're just so fast you don't release your button in time and they get you. So those are fun. The bamboo strikes, that mini game, where you're just pressing the combination button. Those got a little hard because you're just like, oh man, I don't know if I can do all 7 of these.
No, by the time I got to 7, I was like, hold on, let me take a screenshot on my phone real quick or something like that, just so I can, because I would try to do my head. I'm like triangle L L L L, and then just couldn't. I was like, well, a couple of times I did, but sometimes it was
a lot of patterns
to
it,
but it was fun.
Yeah. There's patterns to it. You know, the fox dens was just to boost. I would always try to find the fox dens so I could boost up my resolve. That was like my number one thing, was boosting the resolve. You can maximize your health with the hot springs, where you reflect on other things.
The haikus in general, I thought that was just an amazing feature, especially in the end when you have to write your clan's letter. I'm not sure if that's what it's called, but when you have to do that and just sit there and then just let the music hit and just the score build up, and you're like, I really put time and effort. I can't recite what I actually put, but it felt like it made sense to the story, and I felt like they did a good job of giving you combinations that would work regardless. And I thought that was cool.
I think it's saved, like, you know, the headbands you get for the haikus. Like if you click on the headbands, I think it saves like what your haiku is. Like,
oh, I'm gonna go back and get that because
if I'm not mistaken, I have a ton of them. I have like so many headbands now.
I felt like a poet. Like I needed, like I'm gonna go get my script so I can publish it.
Okay, this is something that's tied into the haikus, but it's something else. It's the voice acting. Both you and me played Japanese voices with English subtitles, and I'm not knocking the English voices at all because I didn't play them. But I watched some videos that had them, and I can't go back. I can't, like, hearing the Japanese voice. It's too authentic to me now. It's like too real. Like I can't do the English voices now.
Yeah, when I streamed live a little bit from the beginning, and just because I was getting, some people were like, "Can you just put it on English? It's hard to read the subtitles with the with the action."
I understand.
Completely understand. But when I was playing it myself, I was just like, "Oh, nah, dog. Like this English ain't it for me." Like you said, no disrespect to the English voice actors because they still were giving it their all. But it's just like once you've set off into once you start with the Japanese voices and you're just already submerged into the world and you're used to reading the subtitles, there's no going back. It's just like switching back is just like it's not.
It takes me out of it. Honestly, it takes me out of it. I mean, I did that video on the Kurosawa mode. I think that's something I'm gonna, because originally I was like, oh, maybe I'll go back and do the English voices, but I don't think I can do that. I think I'm just gonna go to Kurosawa mode for my second playthrough. And get that feel for it, especially now that I recommend in that video not to do Kurosawa mode off the bat because it's kind of hard not being able to see, you know, the different color coded attacks that are going to happen. But now that you're, you know, trained on it, it's going to be a lot better. And so I want to go back to the customizations of the armors. Which one was your favorite armor?
If we're excluding the ghost armor, because that was probably my favorite, the ghost armor. I think it was it was for me the clan armor itself, especially when you're able to upgrade and you have the antlers.
The
though that was probably my favorite armor thus far. But if I have to pick like out of all of them, it's the ghost armor for me. Like how I have my character now. Like I said, I got the straw hat, I got a little mask on, I got a cape like I'm Batman. Like we're really the Ghost of Tsushima, and I think I'm sticking with that until like I'm gonna try to unlock the rest of them, but top are the ghost and the clan armor. And speaking of just the ghost armor, real quick, we didn't touch on the ghost stance. I thought that I did not see that coming until you unlocked it.
Yeah.
Like that wasn't in
Oh
the.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was a well sneakily placed. Like they didn't tell us about it at all beforehand. I absolutely love that. Although it was harder to achieve that, but without getting hit or
Well,
anything.
that's the thing is you have the standoffs. If you do 4 standoffs, you
Oh,
get 4 deaths in a row, and you throw in
oh,
some like assassinations in there. Um, you can get it. It's pretty. I mean, the ghost dance is really cool just because it's like a rage mode, right? Where you like scare the shit out of
yeah.
everybody. It goes black and white, and like every time you kill someone, it turns all red. Yeah, it's so much fun to like go into that mode.
Yeah, that was sick. That was one of my highlights. Although I didn't get to do it as much as I would have liked, that's just on me. But I thought that was cool, and I didn't even think about doing the 4 standoff because that's 4. Yeah, god damn it, should have invested in that,
Yeah. You know what I hated? It was like the dogs.
bro. Now I think I said that in my stream. It was
Last
like
of Us 2?
where I felt bad about killing the dogs in Last of Us 2. All those dogs annoyed the hell out of me, and they were not difficult to kill. They were just
No,
annoying, bro. I was like,
they were annoying.
man, god damn those dogs. I did not. They're fictional. I did not care one bit for. I did not lose one bit of sleep when I was knocking them out. That shit was so goddamn annoying. Like, bro, that
They would kill off my ghost streaks, right? Because I think the ghost
yeah,
streak is like eight. You got to kill 8 in a row, and I'd get like 5 or 6, and then a dog would run. And like you said, the dogs weren't hard to kill, but they would attack you and grab hold it. Like they didn't even hurt that much. It would take like a minimal amount of health, but they would grab you and kill off your ghost streak. And it was
just
like,
annoying.
yeah, yeah. So did you ever kill an eagle with a bow?
No, I didn't. I didn't try to do
Yeah.
that. Did
There
you?
wasn't that many eagles, but they'd have eagles in certain forts just to spy on you. And then
Hmm.
if you wanted to take them down, just use your bow and arrow.
No, bro.
Charm,
Yeah, those Eagles. Anytime like they were spying on me, I just always got called.
the charms were cool. Another cool addition where basically you got to pick and choose what things you wanted to upgrade. I always picked anything that boosted my resolve,
Mm,
boosted up my melee, or boosted up. I didn't care about. I'll be honest. I know you were like big on the arrows. I didn't really
yeah,
boost up my arrow stuff.
yeah. That
Uh,
was a charm I had. I think I always kept on is the one that enhanced the bow concentration for a bit. Like I don't know, man. If I was ever to become a live action samurai, I would be I can't Lord Irishawa. Is that it? Is that am I pronouncing his name right?
which
Pronouncing
guy?
the bow master.
Oh,
That would
Sensei Ishikawa.
Ishikawa. Yes, I would if I was ever to become a live action samurai, that would be the route I take because those bows, bro. I'm deadly with that. I'm deadly with man. Give me a little bit of concentration. I'm killing 3 people in one go.
Yeah. For me, my favorite armors were. I like the ghost armor. I didn't really upgrade it that much. The Gus. Oh, you haven't gotten the Gasuko's armor because that's from a Mythic Tale.
Which
I
no,
I
because
think
I've gotten one. Is it like the orange and
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I've
yeah.
gotten that one. I wasn't feeling that one too much. I was mad I
But
wasted my Mythic
apparently,
Tail
if you
time.
upgrade it, it looks way better. You know how like
Mm,
every time you upgrade it, like the helmet changes or
yeah.
whatever, and the body changes. Same with the ghost one. Um, that one looks better later. I haven't gotten that far, but I'm gonna check that one. My 2 favorite though were actually not the ghost armor. It was the Sakai clan armor,
Hmm.
with the antlers, and then putting on the mask. So
Yeah.
I got I don't know. Did you find the black dye guy? There's like a black dye merchant.
That like color that customizes your colors and stuff.
No, no,
Or
no,
you,
no. This guy is specific. He makes all your armor, like you can pay him to make your armor like dark black. And you
no, I
make your
haven't seen
full, okay.
the dark
Anyways,
black.
so I turn the Sakai armor, the fully upgraded Sakai armor, dark black, and then wear a red mask, the red
Mm,
Sakai mask. And he looked badass. I also did a white one. I did a white Sakai armor, fully upgraded with a red mask. I thought it
I
looked
think,
badass.
yeah, I think you show me. I think if you look at our playthrough, those are on the thumbnails. Those, I think,
Yeah,
those will look nice.
yeah. And then my second favorite was the Ronin outfit. I was just wearing a straw hat, just because it's
Yeah,
like the quintessential Kurosawa look of the kind of the Ronin, like walking around, wandering the ancient Japan. I love that, like with the straw hat and just wearing that outfit, because you wear it at the end, like
yeah.
when you fight Lord Shimura. So those two are my favorite. Mongol's commander's armor. Did you ever find that?
Nope. I no.
Okay.
I think I got some. I got some of the pieces. I stopped like.
Okay. Once
Yeah, I
you
got.
get it, you can't upgrade it, and you can't customize it. Like it's just an armor. It helps you with your health and getting like attack. The one thing it's really good for is that if you go to a Mongol camp, they don't
Yeah.
recognize you as an enemy at first.
Ah. Can you kill them
'Cause
and then they recognize you?
yeah. Once you attack, but like, so your quote unquote stealth in those areas is like super high, because they're like, oh, you're one of us. But you can't upgrade it, can't customize it at all. That's a cool one. I never used the traveler's attire. I never use the broken armor is useless after you use it first time. The samurai clan armor I only used at the very beginning, the one that the Adachi clan Lady Masako gives you in the
Yeah, I
beginning.
only use that for the once you get that, and then once I was able to switch it, I was like, yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
feeling it.
What was your favorite stance? Stone, wind, water, moon. I barely used water or stone. I was mainly changing between moon and wind.
But for me personally, just because of the like every like I think I use all of them like I want to say equally, but
Oh,
for me, it would probably be the wind stance. I found that one the most effective against any type of thing. It was probably the wind stance and the moon stance were like my main ones, like the one where you can break the shield and stuff like that. I think those two were not the moon stance. It was the water stance, I believe. The water and the wind were the main ones I used, and then the moon one I thought was just cool because it incorporated more kicks. I thought that was an interesting thing to do. Is just it's like once you build that one up and you can just supercharge and just kick the crap out of somebody and send them flying. I love that. But the main ones for me were the water and the wind, and then the stone one. It was just I feel like that was just the default one that
yeah.
you like that the main one that you got
Did the
had to
piercing attack. It did the piercing
yeah.
thing or whatever.
But
The
I
wind one
felt
was
more
cool when you
yeah.
did the whirlwind. Yeah, the moon, you would kick them. I mean, there was a lot of cool moves. Just like I said, like I was really into the combat, the parries, parrying off the bow and arrows, all that stuff. Let's see what else. What else are
I,
we missing from this spoiler filled route? Music.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was
Go ahead. Go ahead.
speaking of the music just in general, I thought it was especially like I said when you're at the end when you're back at the same place that you did for the sparring tutorials in the very beginning of the game and that's where you end the game and just that whole sequence just anytime you had a one-on-one duel I think that was the most impactful music for me is just how the music swells up and then it never got old when the camera panned to his sword and then he does a little click out and I'm like
Yeah.
we're about to get things rolling. Like the music always enhanced those types of scenes. I absolutely loved it when I think that like I said the dual parts were the most important. And then another musical like scene that really stood out to me was at the end of Act 2 going into the beginning of Act 3 when you're escaping and you're getting shot with arrows into your horse and then he's just like at the very wits of his end and you see the horse just dragging out and then the horse finally gives out and it's just like your character has hit rock bottom and it's only up from here and it's just like fades to white and it just gets all silent. I'm just like, damn, that's how you tell a goddamn story.
Yeah, the composers was composed by two guys, Elon Eshkiri and Shigeru Imbayashi. Obviously, this whole production is Sucker Punch. Yeah, a very awesome game. Love playing it. Beautiful looking. Graphics were great. You had different lighting scenarios, time of day, a lot of particle effects with the wind and flowers and leaves, all that stuff, riding the horse into the sunset. the photo mode is like the
Mm.
most like customizable photo mode that you can play. You know, like you can
Yeah.
do the focal length of the camera. You can do where you know how big your aperture is. You can do, you know, like I said, time of day. You can do color grade. You do like, and you can do motion too, and music if you want to do like a little video snippet, I guess, of a certain scene.
And speaking of just not the photo mode, but just, and we talked about it earlier, like you asked, where do we think the story could go? Honestly, I would be down, like, it's, let's say, but like this takes place after you have fully, like, let's say this is, you fully liberated Tsushima, everything is back to normal. Let's say you have a messenger from another land far away that's like, we've heard about the ghost. We need his help here because everybody's trying to be on that honor bullshit and nobody wants to get into nobody wants to do the dirty work, so we need the ghost. And then it's him going to like a faraway land, and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna liberate this because I'm a ghost now, and I just gotta fight for what's right." So I would be down for that. It's just like taking him to another, maybe outside,
Sure.
completely out of his element or something. Take him into America and then have him save people or something like that. That would be cool. Not America particularly, but just another land, and then having him do something there.
Yeah, if it's Ghost of whatever, Ghost of another place. Speaking of next things after the game, when you're finished, you can still keep playing to complete a lot of the side quests that you haven't done yet in the minor battles. But you get a house. You get a little house,
Hmm.
basically the ghost house, and it's like a museum to all the stuff. You got the saddle from your dead horse. You got like uh, you got different armors and weapons and cloths and all these things to remind you of basically your journey up to that point.
Yeah, I thought that was cool as well. It's just like little monumentum of like everything you've been through. Like you went through hell and back. You almost died multiple times. Got thrown off a bridge. Just went through hell, and just to persevere. You and your character having to take over this land. It's just looking back at that. It's nice. And I like I said again, I'll be down for a sequel in a couple years where the house is fully built out. The clan, maybe your uncle is like trying to be chill again. I don't know. I think that would be interesting to revisit that dynamic. Maybe now I keep going back to potential spoilers. Like maybe the Shogun gets corrupted and he's like,
Mm-hmm.
nah, we gotta just be bad and take over the land. And then Lord, your uncle's like, oh shit, we probably need the ghost. Like, what did I do? What did I do here? Because honor's not going to save the day. So that would be interesting. Where it's like you have to reconcile with your uncle to fight together to do something else. So I don't know. That'd be cool.
Yeah. How many hours did you clock total? I think I did like
Shit, I don't know.
47, 48 hours or something like that.
I don't know. I lost track after the first 30. Like once I was deep in, I couldn't
Uh-huh.
even tell you how many hours. Like it's especially going like now that I'm like trying to complete the whole game.
Hmm.
I don't know, 45, 50 hours. Like, and to be
Uh-huh.
honest, like it didn't feel like this was one of the games. Like it's a long ass game, and like yeah, you're not gonna like burn. Like you can't sprint through this game. Like it's definitely a marathon. You definitely can play it in chunks, but you
Mm.
can not like just sit there and like try to power through every act. Is so like I really enjoyed that aspect of it. It's like I wanted to, although we had to like play it at a faster pace because we wanted to do a review ahead of
Yeah.
the embargo. I still enjoyed myself playing and coming back to it, taking breaks. Like other games, I feel like I was taking breaks out of frustration because I couldn't figure out something. I'm like, fuck
Hmm.
this, like yeah, like all that. But in these breaks, I think it was just more of like, yeah, I just need to take a little bit of a break because I've been playing for like 6 hours straight. Like it's just I gotta step away from the camera, step away from the TV monitor for a bit just to rest the eyes. So I never found it like repetitive or boring or anything along those lines.
You know what's funny is like when I finished the game, it's like I've done a good amount. Obviously, I still need stuff to do. They uncover the whole map for you at the very end. They're
Yeah,
like,
you're just like, oh,
bam, bam, this
you
is
ain't
what
done
you're
shit.
missing. And it's like it's not like big quests. It's all these like small villages that have been taken
Yeah.
over by the Mongols, and you need to clear them all out.
It's like
It's
one like
like,
when the map zoomed out and it was just like red, like a sea of red. I was like, ah,
yeah.
damn, I ain't liberate shit. Like, what have I? I've just been having a personal vendetta against this one dude. I've not been worried about the whole land. But I mean, you were liberating as you've gone, but now it's time to like you finish your main mission. Now you go back and liberate the whole world or land.
Yeah. Oh, one random question. Did you ever get the Kensai armor?
Which one was that?
It's the one that's like you have like straw like over here, like kind of like a claw animal skin straw like on your
I don't.
shoulders.
I
It
don't think
basically you
so.
would know it because you have to duel 6 times. You have to go.
No,
It's a
that.
mythic tale. Okay, that one I liked because it gave you 30% more resolve. You know, like
Damn.
like Ronin armor gave you like more melee attack.
Hmm.
The armor gives you more defense. You know, that gave you more resolve, and so that one was kind of cool too. So there's just so much to do in the game, and a lot like as much as I love The Last of Us Part 2. When you're done with that game, you're done. Like you would
Yeah.
play it again, right, from the beginning to the end to soak in that journey. But that journey is so heavy
Yeah.
that
I don't. I
you
would
kind
need
of
to
have to
take
wait.
away. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I couldn't revisit that for a minute.
Yeah, where Ghost isn't, the story isn't that heavy. I mean, it has its emotional points and whatnot, and it's very combat driven, so you can go back to it fairly easily and go do other stuff and explore. I love exploring. I love the
Yeah.
grind of going around, upping your points to master all the techniques and whatnot. I
And it,
never upgraded the guiding wind.
I haven't. I didn't either. But you know what I
Yeah.
thought it was interesting is that this game is only about 40 gigabytes, but you like, I would think it would take like 70, 80, but no, it's like 40 gigabytes about, and then you have all this open world and this beautiful land on what I would consider not as heavy of a memory game, like compared to like The Last of Us, like 80 gigs, Warzone 100 gigs,
Yeah.
things like that. Like I thought it was interesting that it was only 40, but it still looked visually beautiful and just outstanding.
Yeah, so overall, I highly recommend the game, especially if you're into these third-person action RPG adventure games like Assassin's Creed or other type of games like this. I mean, it's open world, so it's less like Last of Us because Last of Us is a straightforward adventure. You're going from point A to point B. I mean, it's a journey and there's a lot of
Right.
twists and turns, but this one's like more like getting to explore.
Overall, again, like I said, absolutely love this game. Thought it was. This is right now, like I said, my game of the year. As of right now, I know we're in the middle of summer and at the end of July. If you're watching this right now, so truly enjoyed it. Story, characters, the combat, the gameplay itself.
Mhm.
By far one of the best gameplay experiences I've had this year. So Sucker Punch knocked out of the park again. Like I said, I was already having high expectations because the Infamous games are some of my favorite games and one of the underrated, I feel like, franchises within the whole Sony PlayStation
Mhm.
exclusive thing. I hope that they take the success of this and they're like, all right, we're going to have another Ghost of Tsushima, and then maybe down the line we do a PS5 exclusive for another Infamous game, like because how Infamous 2 was one of the title launches for PS4. It'd be interesting to see if they have this in their Infamous game in their back pocket for the PS5. So, I'm interested to see what the future of Sucker Punch is after the success of this game.
Yeah, definitely. All right, guys. Hopefully, if you've stayed with us this long, either on the Collider Games YouTube channel or listening on the podcast, you've played the game already. Otherwise, we just spoiled a bunch of stuff for you. Dorian, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Dorian Parks and Rec, and you can find me on Instagram at Dorian Parks, and you can find me right here on Collider Games.
You can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero or Instagram, Dennis.tzng. Make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, youtube.com/Collider Games, or on the podcast feed, which is the Collider Factory feed, where we have our reviews, our interviews, and our podcast every single week. And so until next time, we'll see you guys later.